Hi everyone, doing the strategy video for the week ending 11/22. We did have a red week. You're looking at the Friday heat map. You notice how there's a cool part right in the middle, which was the financials, and I'm going to nominate them as NVDA number 2. NVIDIA has saved the market, I think 3 or 4 times already since May of 2023, and it's going into a pretty important earnings report this week. So those two things should be on your radar regardless of what we say for the rest of the video. Last week we had a red one. It does happen. Right here we have the 10-day dip before the elections. Then election day, we had an insane rally unlike anything I've ever seen, at least in one segment of the market on the small caps. Last week we had just a give back to about halfway. The bulls will try to get up here, make a higher high. All right, things to look out for are earnings. NVIDIA, Palo Alto, and Snowflake might matter, but NVIDIA is going to move 2 mega caps at least, and a whole industry of chips stocks. Up or down, we don't know. There's also Walmart reporting and Lowe's. They might give us an idea as to how retail is doing. All right, as far as events, it looks like the ECB, they have a moment with a bunch of ECB headlines here, a few Fed speeches. Inside joke, the Michigan consumer sentiment, the all-important Michigan sentiment. I would still invite you to stay tactical. There's not much investing decisions to be made up here. You're either already invested and leveraging, locking some profits, buying some defense, selling some covered calls, or if you're looking to invest for the long term starting, I would suggest nitpicking which ones and how much of them. We have hammered this point home so many times, but we do get a lot of new members, so I want to make sure they don't miss it. I wanted to show you the real picture from the SPY, like the drawing I showed you, the 10-day correction, the reaction to the earnings, how high it is, how they gave back half. This is the the QQQ version. That would be the NASDAQ. Same thing. Spike. They give back half, maybe a little bit more. I always like to show this picture, which is the S&P weekly chart. But this is a good visual to show you that what dip, we haven't even started falling. And to also show you how long the stretch has been. If you look at the bottom of 2022, October, and compare it to the pandemic bottom and the stretch after the pandemic and the stretch now, this pandemic stretch has trillions of dollars behind it. Fiscal spending from the government. Well, those dollars are trailing off, yet here we are, continuing to rally. What am I saying? Just respect the altitude at which we are. And now the QQQ, it kind of looks the same. In fact, this red formation on my screen is bearish. That says even if we drop to 400 or 380, that'll be target 1. And most people are not prepared, even though we're warning. It's better to warn too many times than not to be prepared at all. So, and it's cheap. The VIX was in the 13s just last week. So if somebody needed protection, we've already shared that idea. In fact, if somebody bought those, they already have greens coming from those to offset some of the other losses. The IWM did not make a higher high as far as all-time high. Came pretty darn close, but didn't. And so it too technically has a little bit to give back. And there is support, but it's not close. Temporary support around 220, 224, but the real support is not until the low 200s. Okay, let's look at the Dow. I don't trade the DIA too much. I am short, as I shared with you via a very silly credit call spread, but you don't see an index do this often. What is this? Just draw an island out of nowhere, gap up and never come back. I mean, you've seen stocks, incredible stocks do that, but you don't see indices gap up out of nowhere and never come back. So just that idea gives you risk down to 425, just from that silly concept. I see one down here, okay, but that was close to a pretty well fought area. So in theory, there has been transactions here, but in that little sliver there's not much going on. This was an all-time high, so there's not much support. It's kind of wonky. All right, these are just technical chart comments that should bring a little bit of humility. All right, as far as technical charts, which are the leaders? You know them. The banks are incredible. This is an insane bunch right now. These are the ones that I'm looking at. So keep your eye on the banks. And my focus is NVIDIA. Don't assume anything. We don't know how NVIDIA stock is going to react. I'm going to say the report will be well presented. How it's received is a complete coin flip. We may get data on the day of, so if you want to pop into the live room, we will look at the options to see where the money is. We can tell where the market makers have money. Sometimes that gives us pretty darn good clues. Stay safe out there. I'll see you on the live.